onto the multicolored now. There are no commons in multicolored, only uncommons. So that's what we are gonna do.
Sure, this is Gremlin Tamer. Gremlin Tamer is white, blue, 2 mana total for a 2/2 human scout. Eerie, whenever an enchantment you control enters and whenever you fully unlock a room, create a 1/1 gremlin creature token. So specifically, there's a decent amount of things that trigger Eerie, right? And especially if you're in these decks, it's I wouldn't necessarily call it trivial, but there's enough. There's enough to make a deck full of them. To the point where a bear that can reasonably, if you cast it and it's left alone, produce 2 to 3 1/1 gremlins over the course of the game. That's very strong. That's quite good. It's not, gonna win the game on its own, but the value it produces is going to be substantial. So I like this a lot. I would take this at a rate of a C+. In color, it's probably like a B-.
So yeah, we give this a little bit lower grade because most of them are not very splashable. So a bit lower grade, and then we give them in color grade that you can see on the tier list spreadsheet. And in color grade is when you know that you're Azorius, for example, or when you're leaning heavily to Azorius. But this is crazy powerful. Like, this is, you just keep making 1/1s. Any enchantment enters the battlefield. There's a lot of enchantments. There's a lot of doors as well. I'm on a B-, and in color, B or a B+. This is crazy in color. I think you're just gonna be getting a ton of 1/1s. I think it's a B in color, even though late game, sure, not that great, but if you play it early or in mid game, it gets kind of wild. There's a lot of enchantments, and they're just unlocking the doors. I'm gonna B. I think this is great. B in color. So what do we give it, Scotty? B in color or B-?
B. B's good.
Okay.
I'm pretty close to B. Is this Inquisitive Glimmer? Yeah. Inquisitive Glimmer. White, blue, 2 mana for an enchantment creature. Fox Glimmer. It's a 2/3. Enchantment spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Unlock costs you pay cost 1 less. So specifically for rooms, all rooms are enchantments. There's other various enchantments strewn throughout the set, including creatures. So for a room specifically, you're getting a discount of 2 over the course of that room's span, right? You pay 1 less to put it down, and you pay 1 less to, get its full effect when you unlock the second door. It's a pretty significant amount of unlocking. This also triggers Eerie on its own, being an enchantment creature. All enchantment creatures and all enchantments in general help you with your delirium count. If you do care about delirium, these colors don't really, but there may be some overlaps. Overall, I think this is pretty solid for me. I probably take this at a rate of a C, and in color, I think this is like a B-.
Yeah, pretty solid. Like, it's a 2/3. It's an enchantment. Makes it everything costs less. I don't think it's as powerful as the last card, even though it has better stat line and it's enchantment. But it's pretty good. I'm gonna be on a C. And a B- in color seems fine. Yeah. Don't think it's as powerful as the last one, but it's pretty good.
Fear of Infinity. 1 blue, black, 3 mana for a 2/2 enchantment creature nightmare. Has flying and lifelink. Fear of Infinity can't block. Eerie. Whenever an enchantment you control enters, and whenever you fully unlock a room, you may return Fear of Infinity from your graveyard to your hand. So this is quite annoying, right? The best thing to do for this is to just have a 3 toughness blocker. But if you don't, this is really freaking annoying to race.
What do you mean blocker? Oh, sorry, my bad.
Deal with Fear of Infinity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, because you're not killing this. You're pointing an exile at it, or not. You're not putting a normal rule spell at this, and if you can't remove it, this is just such a nightmare to race. Truly a nightmare. But really irritating. If there's also ways you can leverage sacrificing. So this is a pretty expensive way to sacrifice and buy back, right? This costs a lot. So I don't, the typical play patterns of play fodder, sacrifice to get value doesn't necessarily work with this card until the late game because this is a lot to keep on recasting. But as something that you can just drop and feel pretty confident that your race is going to end up pretty well, I like it. I do like it. I'm probably taking this at a C+, and in color, I think this is a B-.
Yeah, I'm on a C+ as well. This
There's an echo for me, apparently.
Sorry, what?
There's an echo for me.
Oh, there's still an echo. Then I'm just gonna do one thing that I did before, and it's gonna be fine. But you're gonna tell me if everything sounds fine after I change one setting. Let me just finish the Fear of Infinity. There's echo from my mic. Scotty's voice sounds twice sometimes, right? The 2-2 lifelink is huge difference. Just to finish this card, 2-2 lifelink is a huge difference than just a 2-2 flying. Like it is if this can attack, it is extremely hard to raise a flying lifelinker. It is extremely hard. It's like so many times a flying lifelinker is a bomb just because it has lifelink. Usually the flyers have trouble by being like understated, and then ground creatures raise better now that in new limited in the last 5 years, because ground creatures don't suck anymore. They're not vanilla shit anymore. So it's good stat line. It sucks that it cannot block. It's gonna matter sometimes, definitely. But also it's so easy just to get this back to your hand all the time. If you have something to sack it, not that many things that care about sacking, but sometimes there is. You just infinitely loop 2 of these as well. I hope there's some uncommons that sack. I kind of forgot some really good. There's that colorless thing that makes a glimmer, and that gives a +1/+1 to this to be a 3/3 lifelinker. Man, Scotty, I'm on a C+ for this one, and in color, sure, a B- seems fine. The soul sack things, that doesn't seem that good, but it does sack things. Can you give this the 2 mana 1 +1/+1 artifact equipment that makes a glimmer? Can you give it a B- from me? I think that card is gonna be great.
Yeah, wild. Okay.
Yeah, I just think that card is gonna be great. I'm gonna just pick so many of those. Yeah, this is pretty good. I like Fear of Infinity quite a lot. Right, gonna change something. And you can go.
Skull Snap Nuisance. Blue, black. 2 mana total for a 1/4 insect skeleton. Has flying and eerie whenever an enchantment you control enters, and whenever you fully unlock a room, surveil 1. This is nice. This is really nice, right? You have a blue-black deck that wants to go for the long game. You get a lot of value off of your surveilling as you just play your game somewhat naturally. Like, the status of enchantments in this set is not so much I have to stretch for my enchantments, it's that I want enchantments naturally in my deck anyway, right? So it's not like, oh, I have to build around this. You're just going to build a normal blue-black deck and be able to get decent value, which is, I like. I like that a lot. This is a defensive tool, is quite strong. To be honest, all of these cards feel in the ballpark for me. They all feel relatively in the same ballpark. This one, I'm also going to give it a C+ and a B-.
What do you give it? A C+ and a B-?
Yep.
Yeah, this like
thing.
blocks everything. That's really nice. And then like surveilling a crap ton is pretty good. This is just a 2-drop. So there should be no echo now. But you guys tell me if I'm louder than Scotty. I don't think I'm gonna be much louder, but you're gonna tell me. I'm on a C+ B- as well, man. All of these look really nice. I don't think I'm gonna splash most of them. This one can be splashed in some crazy synergies, maybe. But I don't think I want to splash too many. The defensive bodies in weak versus survival, yeah, that is true. That is definitely true. But it also does a lot. It also does quite a lot. So I'm liking the Demir cards. I'm really liking the Demir cards. I'm liking the Azorius cards as well.
Disturbing Mirth. Black, red, 2 mana total for an enchantment. When Disturbing Mirth enters, you may sacrifice another enchantment or creature. If you do, draw 2 cards. When you sacrifice Disturbing Mirth, manifest Dread. Yeah, so the nice thing here, obviously, is if you're able to stack these up, which is a little bit on the difficult side, it being an uncommon, you can sacrifice this to itself, right? You can just sacrifice other disturbing worths and you can keep the chain going, which is pretty strong. There's other cards in the set, including a common that's just sacrifice enchantments on their own, and when you do, you just get additional value off of that. Starting the chain, I guess technically speaking, you could just play this out for no value, because you could just have this enter and not do anything if that's what you really want to do, if you have absolutely no fodder and this has to be your fodder. Which is like, I guess not the absolute end of the world. But I believe this is strong. But I believe this is pretty archetypal specific as well. You do want other things besides just disturbing mirth to sacrifice your enchantments. If this is just sitting here on the battlefield and you end the game with this sitting here on the battlefield, that's not a good card. Sorcerer speed sacrifice, not a good card. If you're able to consistently sacrifice disturbing mirth to other effects or other disturbing mirths, then that is a very good card. So it's a pretty big delta in terms of being in archetype or not. I'm still gonna give. It is very powerful if you get going. So I'm gonna speculate on this one as a C+. And in color, I think there's enough support for this. In color, it's B-. Same grade for me.
It's like on its own, it's really bad, no?
On its own, it's quite bad.
So you really need this. On common. Also tell me guys, I think our volumes are fine now, but if I need to be a little bit lower to match Scotty, just tell me. On common, we have like one black card that sacrifices something to exile. Something else, you have a red card that can sack enchantment to deal 2 damage, which I don't think is that great. That's common. I mean, this combined, when you have more of these, that's pretty good. I don't know, man. It's uncommon. It's hard to have more. I just don't think there is maybe that many ways to sack these. I'm actually gonna be on a D+ for this. I mean, the card is so cool. The card is so fucking cool. Obviously, it would be completely broken if you could sacrifice itself. I mean, just sacking something like drawing 2 cards is not the end of the world, I guess. You can have small things.
It's pretty bad at sorcery.
It's pretty bad. It is pretty bad. But you really need other sacrifice ways to sack this.
So there's only one in black and one in red?
One in black on common. It's one in black, one in red. On uncommon we have a little bit more. Like on uncommon we're kind of fine. You're gonna get the next one on uncommon as well. On uncommon it's alright. It is alright. Man, it's so hard. I think I'm gonna give it a C-, I guess, if you have other things. And in color, just a C+. I really hope it's gonna be much better. In some decks it's gonna be great, I feel like. Very, very great. But in some other decks it's gonna be very medium. So C-, C+. But one of the most interesting cards in this set, really gotta see if you can always make it work. Scotty, can you?
Where is this? Whatever, I'll read off the screen. Sawblade, Skinripper, 1 black red for a 3/2 human assassin with menace. You can pay 2 and sacrifice another creature or enchantment to put a +1/+1 counter on Sawblade Skinripper. At the beginning of your end step, if you sacrificed 1 or more permanents this turn, Sawblade Skinripper deals that much damage to any target. So essentially, you sacrifice 1 card, you deal 1 damage. You sacrifice 2 cards, you deal 2 damage. Is that correct? It's not based on anything else but the number of sacrifices.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Menacer's not bad. A Menacer that can threaten to get larger, depending on if you throw your board at it, is fairly difficult. That's fairly difficult to block. This seems pretty solid to me. You can also ping off. For example, if there's problematic small creatures in the way of you actually bashing in, you can sort of ping them off to clear the way for an attack next turn, which is fine. It's fine. I don't love the rate of 2 mana sacrifice something, get a +1/+1 counter, but it is certainly nice that it's there. It certainly exists to make combat more difficult. I would hope not to necessarily dump all my resources into making this a large creature, right? I would hope to use my sacrifice fodder for something else, but this is just nice sitting there in order to make this more difficult to block. I think this is a solid card. I'm a little bit less excited about this, and it could be that I'm underrating the end step sacrifice ping clause, but I'm going to give this one a C, and in color, I think this is a C+.
I mean that's pretty good. Yeah. this can 3/2 menace is not bad on its own. Like this is a real deal. This with grievous wound. What is a grievous wound?
I believe it when you ping something, it dies. Perhaps.
There's that 1/1 in black that when you sack it, it deals 1 damage to something, so now it's 2. So I don't know. I mean, I think maybe the Disturbing Mirth is gonna be better. I'm gonna C, and in color, I think I'm probably gonna B-. I think it's gonna be good. Because this like enables things, like this makes all of your smaller things really nice. There are really good things to sack in this set, I think, as well. There is something that gives that touch, but that's, it's black, right? Or is it green? Indestructible death touch. It's black or green, I can't remember.
It's green.
Green?
It's a 2 mana green trick.
Oh, never mind then. There's also steal effect. Hey, I'm gonna C and a B-. Yeah, I think it's good.
Okay.
Just a little bit hard to make work, but very, very interesting. This is gonna be a real skill check, like what you're putting in your deck to sack things, when you're sacking things, when you're attacking, when you're just sacking to deal damage. This is gonna be really cool. Red has 3 mana threaten, yeah, but it's uncommon, so not that easy to get.
Beastie Beatdown. Green, red. 2 mana total for a sorcery. Choose target creature you control and target creature an opponent controls. Delirium. If there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, put 2 +1/+1 counters on creature you control. The creature you control deals damage equal to its power to the creature an opponent controls. Okay, so normally speaking, without Delirium, this is just a punch. Sorcery speed punch. If you have Delirium, the creature gets huge and punches. So the delta here is between a solid removal spell, nothing special, but solid, and like an actual really large payoff. An actual really, really large payoff.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, like it's actually huge. To the point I think this is really high floor, and frankly speaking, a pretty dang high ceiling. So I like this card a ton. I think this one is like a C+, and in color, I think this is just a B.
Yeah, Savage Smash, but bite and permanent, and 2 mana.
Yeah, Savage Smash, but like totally different, yeah.
Yeah. But like, yeah, high floor, I mean, this is a crazy... high floor, yeah, the floor is fine, right? The floor is just fine card. Why not? It's basically never bad. I don't think it's very high floor, but it's a very fine floor. But the ceiling is there. The ceiling is definitely there. So red-green is one of the things that it identifies itself with, is definitely delirium. So it's not easy to get, I think. It's not very easy to get. But there's some manifest dread cards that help you out and a little bit of meal here and there. Yeah, B in color seems fine, and how highly I take it? Probably a C+. This is very nice. Next up, we got Wildfire Vicarfolk. For a red and a green, it's a 3/2 haste artifact creature that helps delirium, and it has delirium. It gets +1/+1 and has trample as long as you have 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard. Okay. What's my in-color grade for that one? Same as you, Scotty, B. You can also, okay, like, I can hear you, by the way, so you can... you can fucking say it. It's
I did say it. You ignored me, so I typed it.
it's a 4/3 when you have delirium. I don't think I'm ever gonna explain delirium again. Just say delirium +1/+1 trample and stuff like that. 4/3 haste trample is crazy. 3/2 haste is very fine. So I think B- in color, how highly I take it? I think it's just a C. Because you never splash for it, and it's nice. I don't think this puts me in the color, but it's pretty nice. If you're going first, it's just you deal 3 damage right away. Very nice.
I'm a little bit less hot on it. I'll take this as a C-, in color being like a C+.
Sure.
I don't think it's anything particularly special.
Sure, C+ seems good in color, but really like 3/2 haste that can become a 4/3 haste trample. What puts you in the colors if it's not these uncommons? So multicolored uncommons don't always put you in colors, right? A lot of times when you get into colors is you're picking like, I don't know, picking green cards, and then you start picking, you start getting a little bit into red, getting some really good reds, maybe commons, maybe uncommons, best cards in the pack, and then you get into it, right? It's also like when you take a lot of cards in green, for example, or red, doesn't matter, just one color, then you can be anything that that ties you to that color. Like you can be green, if you're taking green cards, you can be green black, green red, green white, green blue. So I think I would, for this one, for the weaker folk, I think I would wait a little bit to pick it to see if I really want it. I think I would just, I kind of want to, unless it's a bad pack, I really want to be sure that I'm red green. So just a quick check on what things what the colors are doing. So red green seems like it's kind of aggressive and wants to be delirium. These are not full identities. Like the full identity of green intersects, like in most sets, recent sets at least. So one of the green and red things is delirium and being aggressive. One of the black and red directions is sacrificing things and getting some maybe enchantments, random small creatures in so you can sack them. The Demir colors are all about enchantments. And, well, just having a good amount of value in card selection, it seems. And Azorius is all about like that. You can do a fast game, but I think you can also draw. It's all about like going wide with enchantments, getting your things faster in. Everything is just enchantment. I want to play a lot of them, and I want them to flood my board. I want them to just get on and get that value or that tempo faster than other players. That's what it seems like the colors are doing through the signpost uncommons, which is not always correct. And we can just read one now that I fixed things, Corey.
Baseball bat, green, white for an artifact equipment. When baseball bat enters, attach it to target creature you control. Equipped creature gets +1/+1. Whenever equipped creature attacks, tap up to 1 target creature. Is this just Gold Thunder Lasso? This is just Gold Thunder Lasso, right?
But you can tap your creatures.
Sure. You can tap your creatures to have them survive, but only on attack. Interesting. Yeah, so I would prefer to use that tap to send a survivor through to survive combat rather than necessarily tap my survivor, but it's nice that it exists. It's nice that it exists. Certain decks this can be a beating for, but overall I'm not gonna take it particularly highly, I think. This can rise certainly very high depending on like how badly these green-white decks can curve out and beat you down. Like this could possibly be like the best way to just continue serving your creatures through combat. But I'm gonna take this one at a D+, and in color I can imagine this being like a C.
This is the worst one out of all the multicolored we saw so far, right?
In my opinion, yeah.
Yeah, this I don't like this at all. I think I'm taking this as a D, and in color, I think this is like a D.
Did you like Thunder Lasso?
Not really.
I thought it was pretty good.
It was okay. It was okay. D plus in color, is that where we put it then?
Sure.
Or you want to go down to D? That's the.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
The thing is like, I mean, it's okay. 2 mana is so much better than 3, right? It's so much better. It's huge difference. You can double spell. So I guess it's okay if you're just beating the shit. I mean, it's kind of fine, right? Like, wait, maybe it's a little bit better. Maybe it's a little bit better because I don't think you're tapping your own creature. That's just there for sometimes it's gonna happen. Okay, sometimes you're gonna be attacking, they cannot block, so you tap your creature that just entered the battlefield or one that can not attack even if you tap their creature. But this really helps you like get through and trigger that survival. That depends how good the survival is. So maybe it is a little bit better because you don't have to tap your creatures, right? But there's always... Okay, so on common, we have basically no survival. We have no survival. I would say it's 0. Because 2 survival cards on common, one of them gains you 2 life when it's tapped and it's a 4-drop, and one of them becomes a 2/2 flyer when it's a 2/2 before that. So on common there is nothing. You really need uncommons. So actually I'm still on a D and I guess I can go to C- in color, Scotty. You're on a C- in color? So green is kind of like about survival, green-white. But there are no good survival cards on common. Like there is a 4 is, I mean they're fine, but they don't require survival, right? It's not like, oh nice, I'm triggering survival, it's huge. But this is different, right?
You don't need to go out of your way to survive them.
Sorry, what?
You don't need to go out of your way to survive them.
Exactly, it's not like you're making a lot of creatures, making things really big. This one can be nice. Shrewd Storyteller, it's a 3 mana, 3/3. At the beginning of your second main phase, if this thing is tapped, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. So that's fine, like 3/3, and if it gets through, you just make things bigger and bigger. Sure. Like, why not? I think it's C-, but it's not great. Maybe a C in color? Maybe it's a D+. I think this is like D+, probably. Like a C in color? What do you think, Scotty?
I think this is somewhat better than that. This can certainly help you snowball, right? You get to explicitly put the counters, so you're like, for example, on this, so it can keep on getting through and keep on snowballing. Or you can put your +1/+1 counters on the creatures that help you survive this through combat. For example, growing the 2/4 that gives indestructible when it attacks. So I kind of think this plays out fairly well. I feel like this is a C+ in color, and I feel like I take this at like a C-.
Okay. Then C in color?
You're on a D+ yourself?
Yeah, D+. Yeah, guys, we always rate cards in this environment, right? You don't care about a card, the other sets. You don't care about you do care about what commons and uncommons, but mostly commons are in this set and how good the cards are gonna be, right? Like if something is good with the +1/+1 counters, okay. Are there good cards with +1/+1 counters? If there are none, then the card doesn't. You don't care about it. I'm not talking about this. Obviously, this is just survival, and you make things bigger. All right, next up. Just 1 second, because it is the most important thing about how strong a card is. It is what are the rest of the cards. Of course, some cards are just going to be like, I don't know, 2 mana, destroy something. Of course, it's good. Creatures are always there and limited. But if there was a set that doesn't really use creatures, then 2 mana destroy something would be shit. Of course, we never saw that, and maybe never will. We're gonna see. It's gonna be interesting. There's actually so many ways Magic design can go. Like, you can make a limited set that has just a couple of creatures. But attacking and blocking is the most complex part of Magic, limited Magic, so I don't know how that would be. But alright, let's go. Rite of the Moth. For 1 and a white and a double black, that's 4 in total. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. And you can flashback this for 6 mana. Yeah, this is like Unburial Rites. That's harder to splash. That's basically impossible to splash. So the way this works is you have double black in the main mana cost, and you have double white in the flashback mana cost. It's basically impossible to splash. There are cyclers, right? There are cyclers that cycle for 2 mana, so that makes them better, but they're kind of weak in my opinion. Every color has a common like 6 drop, 7 drop, something like that. Cycler and you cycle it for 2 and get that land. I mean, it's not bad. It's good. It's good in the color. You don't splash for it though. I think it's like a C. You really need something good, but Manifest Dread helps you put things in graveyard, I guess. Are there milling? Is there milling?
Just surveilling.
There is surveilling, but there are Manifest Dread cards in white and black, which are kind of nice. Is there any mill in these colors? Let me just quickly check. This is super important. There is no mill except 1 green card. I don't know. I mean, I think a C and a C plus in color, it just costs so much. But 4 mana is... Maybe B minus in color, like 4 mana is fine to pay, but you really need a 4 drop or something.
I'm okay B minus in color.
What do you think about a card, Scott? Like this
is a C plus.
So what do you say?
I'll take this as a C plus. It's a lot of value.
It's also a lot of conditionality. Like, you need all of these things in the graveyard.
I mean, I don't anticipate like doing this necessarily on curve. You know, if I'm casting this like turn 5-6, and then being like, okay, I'm just gonna get a reasonable creature back from the graveyard, and then I just get to do it again for an actual better creature in the late game. I think that's a powerful effect, right? It's like, for example, if I'm reanimating a 3-drop for 4 mana, you know, that's not great, but then I have that thing in my pocket to reanimate my 5-drop or 6-drop later, which I think is a pretty strong place to be.
There is that. This gets much better if you're cycling for 2, but land cycling for 2 mana is pretty bad. Unless a creature is really good, it's pretty bad. Paying 2 mana for a land is so much. Paying 1 mana for a land with a bell, with a land cycling for 1 mana, that is really good. That replaces a land. That's amazing. They should make more of those. We always get fucking 2 mana garbages. So I don't know. It's that helps, but I don't know how many of those you want to play. Alright, Scott, you got the next one.
Okay, this is Shroud Stomper. 3 white, black, 7 mana total for a 5/5 elemental with Death Touch. Whenever Shroud Stomper enters or attacks, each opponent loses 2 life. You gain 2 life and draw a card. This is the wildest box of text I've seen on an uncommon. This is like one of the beefiest uncommons I think I've read in a long time. But it's expensive, you know? Like, Magic's not just about the text box, it's about everything, costs included. This is extremely difficult to cast. So the joke here is that you reanimate it, right? You cheat. You cheat it. You get into the graveyard and you reanimate it. This is extremely good to reanimate. Extremely good. But you do want a way to cheat into the battlefield, and you do have to have a way to manipulate it into the battlefield, whether that be by manifesting dread or surveilling. As Lola mentioned before, there's no direct mill. There's no way to turbo your library into your graveyard in these colors. So you do have to somehow use library manipulation to get this into the graveyard. But if you do, the payoff is extremely high. I don't think I necessarily want to speculate on this super highly, right? For example, if I'm in the beginning of a draft and I'm evaluating cards based on off of a tier list, right? I don't necessarily feel like I need to take this card, even though it has a really high fancy text box, because I feel like if I'm in a reanimation Orzhov deck, and I can choose between like a really solid, for example, removal spell, something that helps me survive into the late game, or a Shroud Stomper. I have alternatives to Shroud Stomper in, for example, what Lowell is saying, like the Land Cyclers, even though they're significantly worse. They're at least an alternative that functions. So I'm not taking this particularly highly. I'm taking this at a C-. In color, I think it's like a C+.
Man, I kind of like this. This is a good 7-drop, I think. I don't think it's very hard to cast. The prohibitive part of casting it is 7 mana. I don't think it's double white, double black. It feels like you're always gonna have that on 7. It's you gain 2 life.
This is a.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, say.
I was gonna say it does help you stabilize.
Yeah.
Decently by gaining 2 life.
And you draw a card as well, replaces itself. You can't it sucks that you cannot splash this. Why did I make these big creatures not splashable? It's always nice when you can. What do you say?
It buffs Orzhov. That's why they can't. That's why they don't want it to be splashed. Otherwise, Orzhov will never get this. People would be slashing it.
Yeah, but man, I would like to submit a petition that we always can splash the 7 mana cards and 6 mana cards and 5 mana cards. At least that it's not double pip of both colors. There was a set, maybe Rounding Collisions, I can't remember, that had that all the multicolor cards, basically all of them had double white, double black, double, and then it's only good in one color pair. I like being able to splash big stuff. Having that as an option makes splashing so much more powerful. But it's a great card. I think it's a C. I think this is great. I want to give this a B in color. What do you give it in color? B-?
C+.
Well, let's go to the B- then, I guess. But I think it's better than B-. I think I'm taking this as. I think I'm actually taking this as a C+. I like this 7-drop. Or a C. I like this 7-drop. I'm taking this as a C+. I like this 7-drop. Usually I'm against 7-drops, but this is nice. Like gaining life and card draw, yeah. It is only 5/5, but I think it's good. I think it's pretty good. When you flip, you don't get ETBs, right? Yeah. Alright, next up.
Intruding Soul Rager. Blue-red, 2 mana total for a 2/2 spirit. Has vigilance. You can tap to sacrifice a room. Intruding Soul Rager deals 2 damage to each opponent. Draw a card. Okay, so the fun part is you can play out a room, for example, a cheapo 3 mana deal 4 damage room, and then you can cantrip it by using Intruding Soul Rager. The downside of that is pretty much every room that has an immediate effect also has a persisting effect when you unlock the other side. So you have to make a decision when you're doing something like Intruding Soul Rager, whether or not you want to wait and unlock the persisting effect, or just cantrip it for a card immediately. Luckily, for a lot of the effects, I think cantripping for immediate damage is actually pretty reasonable. For example, specifically calling out the 4 damage 3 mana room. Like the flip side for 5 mana is just to deal extra damage on upkeep anyway, which you're kind of already doing with Intruding Soul Rager, and you're also just getting the card back. So for things like that, I think it's pretty well worth. You have to judge based on the situation and based on how you anticipate the game turning out in the next couple turns, like what is good for you. But the option is nice to have. Overall, hard to cast 2/2 Vigilance. Not very strong. And this is not even just raw upside of, turning fodder into cards. This is an actual opportunity cost decision you have to make about whether or not you're keeping the room or sacrificing it. So it's not just, free cards. It's not just free cards, free damage. This is a real decision you have to make. I'm probably taking this one as a C-, and in color, I'm going to give this one a C+.
Alright, there are a lot of rooms in these colors. These are red, blue obviously wants to be a room, some enchantment value and stuff like that, but room. So we got 2 blue rooms, 4 blue or red rooms on common. That is 4 commons. That is a shit ton. That's a lot. Now, and then we have 3 uncommon rooms in this format, in these colors. That's a lot. And I think most of the time, you're just sacking. It's a great decision, right? Great decision. Like, are you gonna open the second room or are you gonna sack? It is just free, draw a card, get 2 damage. It makes rooms busted. Obviously, synergy piece, 2 vigilance is not something that you care about, I think. And why does blue-red have vigilance? Wasn't vigilance only white? And then vigilance also somehow transferred to green? And now we got blue-red vigilance. It's like, white is losing its identity. It's constantly losing its identity. Like, what is white even anymore?
Bant colors have always had vigilance.
Sorry, what?
Bant colors, so the vigilance comes from the blue.
Oh, really? Always? Wasn't it white at first only?
I mean, I don't know about history, but, you know, even from like Shards of Alara, blue cards had vigilance and stuff.
Okay. I think it's great. I think you're gonna have these rooms, like... I'm gonna give it a C, and in color... Not a B minus, Scotty. Like, this is gonna be crazy with rooms.
You know what? You've talked me up. B minus is fine.
You sack 1 room and it's crazy. Like, deal 4 damage, draw a card, deal 2 damage to their face. All of a sudden that card is a B+. All of a sudden, like, you're making your rooms into crazy powerhouses. Like, I don't know.
I can see this being a B in color, actually.
Yeah, okay, B, great. Let's do B. It's like, you're really making your rooms crazy powerful. Every room is busted now. And they're kind of good already, I think. Okay. So C and B in color?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to raise mine to a C+. I'm actually really optimistic about this one.
Okay, I'm going to go C+ as well. It's just that kind of you have to pick this kind of quickly, right? Because then you gotta get some of those rooms. But if nothing, you're getting a 2/2 vigilance. It's not the end of the world. And here, oh baby, we got the first room in the format. So room is a new enchantment type. It's a split card, and you can play either. You choose which one to play. It's gonna have 2 doors. Every room has a half, which is called a door. And when you play a room, you choose one of the sides. You pay the mana for only one side. This time we have a Smoky Lounge and we have a Misty Saloon. So for example, if you choose the red part first, that means you pay 2 and a red, and that the whole room enters the battlefield, but only the red door unlocks. Unlocking the room is gonna get you the effects of that room. Only of that room. Only of that one. You're not gonna get one effect twice or something. It's only that effect. For the red room, at the beginning of your first main phase, add double red. Spend this mana only to cast room spells and unlock doors. And then we have the other part of the room, which you could have cast first as well, which is a second door. And you can pay the mana cost printed on that side of the room, on that door, to unlock that door and get the effect. You can only unlock a sorcery, you can only play a sorcery, it's an enchantment obviously, and you can only unlock once, unless you have some way to lock it again. So the Misty Saloon is a 3 and a blue, the other part of the door. When you unlock this door, create an XX blue spirit creature token with flying, where X is the number of unlocked doors among rooms you control. So obviously, this card in vacuum is absolute trash. It's horrible. It is nothing. It's 4 mana make a 1/1, or it's 5 mana over the course of 2 turns make a 2/2 flying. Absolute garbage. But if you have a lot of rooms, it's better. I mean, You're paying 3 mana, and then you save 2, and then you save 2 every turn. Man, Scotty, this needs so much to work, to make it work. And then we also have the Intruding Soul Rager, which sacrifices rooms. But this second part really cares about not sacrificing rooms. Again, a lot of rooms. 4 common rooms. 4 in red and blue. That is a huge number. 4 of anything on common means there is a large selection for that archetype. And then also 3. 2 this one, and 2 more rooms on uncommon. But I don't know, Scotty. I don't know. Scotty, this seems to do too. This seems you need to play it at the right moment, and you really need a ton of support to make it work. It seems really hard to make it work. I think this card is not absolute garbage, but just regular garbage. I'm on a D, and in color D+. How is this good, Scotty? Do you have anything?
Yeah, I mean, if you curve out on this, right, and your deck has, so with 4 commons in the colors, the unfortunate part about Is It Rooms specifically is that I believe that the rooms are going to be valued by other players as well. Like, even if you don't have room synergies, other people are still going to be taking your rooms. The relatively efficient red common slot is literally a room, right? So other people will be taking that card. It's not just a synergy piece for them. That's just a card they're going to play for removal's sake. So it's not like just because there's 4 commons in your colors, it doesn't mean you're going to get all of them. There are certainly some nut seats that you're going to have, some amazing seats you're going to have where you can collect all of them. And this card, frankly speaking, is unbeatable. The ceiling, let's not mistake it, is incredible.
Why?
You drop this on 3. You drop this on 3, right? You tempo yourself. You're behind. Then every turn after that, you're adding 2 additional mana. Your opponent will never be able to keep up with you just dropping a room, dropping a creature, dropping a room, dropping a creature, dropping a double room, right? Unlocking a room, dropping a creature. It's so much additional mana. And then you can just make an 8/8 or a 10/10.
Wait,
Wild.
so in 3 turns, over the course of 3 turns, you ramped for 1 mana.
You tempo yourself for a turn.
For 2 turns. Because you're paying 3 to get nothing.
Turn 3 off.
Then next turn, you're getting 2, which you just lost. You still lost 1 mana. And then the turn after, you're getting 2, which you finally gain that 1 mana to ramp.
Pretty strong. It's also the ability. So it's not just about the mana, right? It's about the fact that rooms are, frankly speaking, reactive for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about the timing of when you cast those. So it's not like you'd necessarily be able to spend your mana cleanly as you would anyway.
Yeah.
So it's about reacting to what your opponent does.
Yeah.
Which I think is very powerful. So I do think that the upside is here. I think this is going to be a busted week 1 deck, and it should taper off as people evaluate when they should be taking rooms and speculating on when they should be taking room payoffs a little bit more highly. But I anticipate this being a very busted week 1 or 2 deck. But I think I'm slightly more I'm actually a lot more optimistic, so I'm gonna take this at like a C-. But like in color at its best, I can see this going as high as like a B-.
What? But it takes
this is powerful.
It takes you 3 turns of actually having rooms to gain 1 mana.
This is I do see this as a very high upside card. And it is a finisher in of itself.
Isn't it also gonna be that that this is gonna be shit in week 1 when everybody's gonna be taking rooms because they want to try out the rooms, and then
that's true. The rooms are cool, I guess. Yeah.
The rooms are really cool. Okay, I don't know, man. You gave it a B ceiling. I gave it a D+ ceiling. Do we go to a C ceiling then?
Could leave it blank. We've left it blank in the past.
We leave it blank. Okay, I mean, we can give it a...
Whatever.
We can leave it blank. Okay, I mean, I'm gonna be trying those rooms, but this seems like shit. This Soul Rager seems great. I mean, it's also not that Soul Rager is bad with this, I guess. If you have a lot of rooms, you can still, like, do this and then start... I don't know, man!
Look, you can when you're finished, you can sacrifice this for a card. When you get your 10/10 and your opponent doesn't die.
Well, I'm gonna be picking this. But it doesn't feel good. Okay. I hope this is gonna be great, because then all the rooms are gonna be good, then the aggro is gonna be a little bit worse. I mean, I'm gonna be trying this out as soon as I can. When is the streamer event? It's in 3 days, right? No, in 4 days?
I don't know.
I think in 4 days we're gonna be playing the set. Oh! Okay, gotta try this shit out. Alright, so blue-red obviously about rooms. Scotty?
Sure, this is the Brood Spinner, black-green for 2 mana for a 2/3 spider with reach. When Brood Spinner enters, surveil 2. And you can pay 4 black, green, 6 mana, and tap it to sacrifice Brood Spinner and create a number of 1/1 black and green insect creature tokens with flying. Wait, what? Oh, with flying equals to the number of card types among cards in your graveyard. Okay, I missed the flying part when I first read this card.
Yeah, this cool. This is good.
Oh, dang. That's a huge difference. Flying, nice.
Yeah.
This is good. This is quite strong. Like, you get a little bit of value when it enters. It's a pretty nice blocker. And then later in the game, when you have your delirium enabled, you probably get 4 1/1 flyers, and you can just crack that end step too. So that's pretty dang nice. Honestly speaking, even cracking for 3 is pretty nice. I like this. I like this a decent amount. I think I'll take this as a C+, and in color, I think this is just a C-, B-.
This is fucking amazing. This is like, okay, so the baseline of this creature is it's a 2/3 reach, and it surveils for 2. That is the floor. That's great on turn 2. That's great on turn. That's one of the best 2-drops that you can play on turn like 6 or something, 7, 8, 9, 10. Because that's when surveil is the strongest also. And then you can also make like, I mean, what if land, I guess, is not that hard, creature is not that hard, sorcery instant, and then artifacts and enchantment not that hard in this set as well. Like, I actually think like when you have 6 mana, this is gonna be pretty easy to make 4 1/1 flyers.
It's pretty sick.
Yeah, it's a 2/3 reach also. With surveil too. I mean, this is amazing. This is like this is a B- easy. This is gonna be one of the best. I'm telling, like, this might be the highest win rate or top 2 or something uncommon multicolored cards. Even though it's multicolored. I think it's just I think this is like this is a huge signal for me to be in Golgari. I'm gonna B-. In color, I'm gonna B+, man.
I can do B.
Let's do B then. Okay, that's crazy good. This is early game, mid game, late game. It has everything. And Golgari is about delirium. It seems it likes delirium. So we have like what colors are mostly into delirium? It's like black, green, and red, right? Those are like the ones that care most about delirium. Yeah. Drag to the roots for 2 and a black and a green. It's an instant that destroys any non-land turn permanent, and it costs 2 less if you have delirium. Yeah, I mean, for 4 mana, instant speed, destroy literally anything. Nice, that's very nice. When you can cast it for 2 mana, maybe double spell later on, even better. This is a great card. It's even splashable if your removal is going in the set, unimportant. B-, B.
Yes.
Yes?
Yep.
I think that the spider is better. I think the spider is better.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about the spider itself.
What?
Nah, never mind. Okay.
What were you doing? You didn't listen to me. Is that because I'm small boy? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
No, you have to speak up. You have to look up. Otherwise, my ears can't hear you.
Okay. I'm sorry. Please listen to me. Next up.
This is Arabella, Abandoned Doll. Red-white for a legendary artifact creature toy. It's a 1/3. Whenever Arabella, Abandoned Doll attacks, it deals X damage to each opponent and you gain X life, where X is the number of creatures you control with power 2 or less. So this is a 1/3 that wants to attack, which is small. It's tiny. It's tiny. It deals a lot of damage. It can fireball your opponent nicely, but it's tiny. You want ways to be able to force this through, which are there a certain amount of ways to do that in these colors? Sure, for sure. There are certainly ways that you can like. I mean, like the overlap between this and cards that help you enable survival is pretty much the same, right? Like if you attack with this, it's the same as if you attack with this repeatedly, it's the same as having this survive combat, right? So this is kind of like the same synergies with survival cards. That being said, it takes work, right? It does take work. It takes work to make do, but it can be quite powerful. I'm probably gonna take this at like a C-, and I think in color it's gonna be like a C+.
Yeah, C-, C+ seems fine. I mean, it can be kind of crazy. It can be crazy with the next card that we're gonna see. Like I want to read the next card. I mean, the thing about this is it is a 1/3, so it's a 2-drop that can do a lot of damage, but it really requires work. Right? It doesn't have menace, so it's not the red, and does require a lot of work. Because it's not that easy to just keep attacking with your 1/3. It does keep opponent on the backside. Like it does make them not attack much because they're always afraid, which is kind of fine with a lot of decks. But
you also can't race this.
Yeah, you're not racing this if it can attack. So how do you do this? I mean, there are some tricks and shit, but it is a 1/3. I think it's pretty good. Like C-, unless I know I'm Boros. But this is really good. It is legendary, unfortunately. Oh, not all of these creatures are legendary. So multiples are hard. This is like much better than Blade Assassin. I got Blade Assassin, yeah. But if you have this card, Midnight Mayhem, for 2 and a red and a white, sorcery, create 3 1/1 red gremlins. Gremlins you control gain menace, lifelink, and haste. So only with this card, that thing is dealing 4 damage and you're getting 4 life, and these are hard to block because now they need 1 blocker for your 1/3 and they need blockers for this. I mean, it's pretty fucking good. This is like goes wide. It's a pretty big attack. So DSK is a gremlin deck. Oh, this is an artifact, right? So blue white cards also care about gremlins. Then blue also has, like, maybe there's gonna be something there to make. Blue has the common 1 mana, draw card, target creature cannot be blocked this turn, and then you just attack with that guy. Oh, I can see that. Alright, this card is great. I think it's C+ in color a B minus or a B. What do you think, Scotty?
In color?
Yeah, B minus.
You're saying in color. B minus.
I think C actually. C and in color B minus. I mean, it's also a finisher if for blue red decks sometimes. So sorry, for your white blue decks.
I don't think we agreed on a in color grade for Arabella.
We did. I said same as you. C minus, C+.
Okay.
This is like, okay, C and a B minus. What do you give it?
C and a B minus is good. I like that.
Okay. So
Growing Dread. Sorry.
Red-white is basically about attacking with small things, but it's a lot more nuanced than that, I think. You can read.
Growing Dread. Green, blue for an enchantment with flash. When Growing Dread enters, manifest Dread. Whenever you turn a permanent face up, put a +1/+1 counter on it. This is nice. A flash bear, essentially, at minimum, right? And then whenever you hit a creature, which is ideally these decks are creature dense so that you're not whiffing. It just becomes a larger creature, so this is frankly speaking tough to block, tough to attack into open mana. The +1/+1 counter is a huge difference in terms of when you win combat. And when you hit something like, if you hit something evasive, right? If you hit a flyer at all, it just increases the clock by a lot. The +1/+1 counter, nothing just needs that. This also just synergizes naturally through other Manifest Dread cards. It's not just this Manifest Dread, it's any other Manifest Dread that you have after that. So I think this is solid. This is solid, and it's a solid build around for me. I probably take this at a B minus. Oh, sorry, I take this at a C plus, and I think in color, Manifest Dreading is really powerful. I still think this is a B minus in color, though.
So, what do you give it out of, when you're out of color?
C plus.
I mean, it gives you, it triggers Eerie is also very nice. Like, this works with everything. It's like, works with delirium, works with Eerie, works with like, manifest dread, I guess, I don't know. Not that easy to turn creatures up, I think. You can only turn creatures face up, right? Only Manifest Dread, nothing else in this set. That correct, Scotty?
Just Manifest Dreading.
So, it's not that easy, right? Because you're looking at 2 cards and one of them has to be creature and you gotta flip it. But it's so irritating to play against that. It is gonna be so hard to block, man. It's gonna be insanely hard, especially if you have this. Yeah, I'm on a C plus and a B for this one. Did you give it B minus or a B in color?
I give it a B minus, but we'll go B.
Yeah, this kind of
closer to B than I am to C plus.
Next up, we have Oblivious Bookworm. For a green and a blue, it's a 2/3. And at the beginning of your end step, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. Unless a permanent enters the battlefield face down under your control this turn, or return the permanent face up this turn. Well, that's fucking crazy. This is crazy. That you're just gonna be looting every single turn. Like, that's not enough. You may. Like, that's not enough. For even if you have nothing that you care about in your graveyard, it's just looting every turn. And then any Manifest Dread, you draw a card. And when you flip that card, you draw a card. This is fucked. And splashable, I think. I'm on a B minus, and in color B plus.
Yeah, this is absurd.
This is absurd. I kind of want to give it a B plus. Simic needs to be pushed. Simic fucking sucks most of the time, unless it gets some crazy things. What do you want to give it? I'm on a B, actually. B, just B, and then B plus. This seems crazy.
Okay. I'll stay at B minus, but I'll agree with your B plus ceiling.
Yeah, this is silly. So Simic is just great. Right?
The Simic cards are both strong, right? Looking pretty good.
And we have like Manifest Dread in... we have enough Manifest Dread on common. Definitely have enough. So yeah, this is nice. That's it for multicolored uncommons. Next up, we are gonna go for rares and mythics in multicolor. What is this? Scryfall didn't put everything up. Wait, this no. That's the previous one. Never mind, it's all good. It's the other card. 5-color reanimate. Remember times when looters were 1/1s? Oh yeah, that's oh. And it's a 2/3, right? It can block 2-drops. It can block Manifest Dread as well.
Wrong.
Scotty?
Nico, Light of Hope. 2 white, blue, 4 mana for a 3/4 human wizard. When Nico enters, create 2 shard tokens. So shard tokens are specific for the character Nico. They're enchantments with 2 mana, sacrifice enchantment, scry 1, and then draw a card. So they're slightly improved clues. Specifically speaking for this, well, actually, hold on. Let me finish reading the card. And 2 and tap, exile target non-legendary creature you control. Shards you control become copies of it until the beginning of the next end step. Return it to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. So specifically for this set, shard tokens trigger your Eerie. So if I'm remembering correctly, it triggers Eerie twice,
yes.
Right? The things that actually care about that, because you actually just got 2 enchantments in 1. Okay. Like okay, nothing special stats, but you well, like as soon as you enter, you just get like your freaking 2 for 1. That's nuts already.
3 for 1.
Yeah, sorry, 3 for 1. It's nuts already. Shards you control become copy, and that's just nice upside on top of it. Like you're not necessarily going to do that all the time, but it can certainly make combat miserable. I think this card is crazy. Yeah, this card is bonkers to me. I'm gonna give this an A-.
You can also return it to the battlefield until the beginning of next end step. Return to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. I mean, you can also attack. This is not only defensive. It's hard to remember things. You can also... Wait, you return it to the battlefield, so it also triggers enter the battlefield effects as well?
Yep.
And it's just a 3-4 that's a 2 for 1. A 3 for 1, right there. Like it's a 3 for 1, 3-4. This is... Yeah, this is a bomb. What do you give it?
I give it an A-.
Sure, A- in color, like an A. Yeah, that's crazy. I'm not gonna give it like an A+, just because it doesn't... I think A+ is for the bombs that like very... In the next turn or 2, they kind of finish the game. This is super powerful, but it's not that. Like, it's not super overstated when it enters the battlefield, it's just kind of normal, but it's crazy. Next up, we got a rare door, a rare room. It's Azorius, and the first room... No. The first door is restricted office for 2 and double white. When you unlock this door, destroy all creatures with power 3 or greater. Okay. And the next is Lecture Hall for 5 and double blue. Other permanents you control have hexproof. Okay, so this is basically 4 mana enchantment, board wipe, that doesn't destroy everything. And 7 mana is kind of cool if you have nothing else to do. But it's like really nothing else to do. It does trigger Eerie as well. 3 or greater. I mean, you're gonna have a lot of these smaller things in these colors. I don't know, man. Like, it's a weird border that triggers Eerie. But it doesn't kill small things when, like, you're sometimes getting killed by small things. I don't like this. I'm gonna C- and C- because I don't care about the lecture hall.
I think this is a mono white card.
Yeah, this is mono white card basically.
Yeah, I don't want a ceiling on this one personally. But I almost think this is more of a Boros card. Like I think this fits better into red white, right? You play it in your low to the ground 2 powers matter deck. You wipe everything that's not your creatures. You enable yourself to attack. Like that's the theme of Boros, right? So I feel like it fits better in Boros than it does in Azorius. And it's pretty dang good there. So I'm like kind of more optimistic about this. So I'll give this a C+.
Okay. Yeah, it is mono white. I mean, I'm still on the C-. It really needs the right deck first. You don't pick this. I think you make a deck and then pick it. Me. Kaito, Scotty.
Let's see, where's Kaito? Kaito, 2 blue, black, 4 mana total for a 4 loyalty planeswalker. It has ninjutsu, which is 1 blue, black. We'll have to read ninjutsu. Return an unblocked attacker you control to hand. Put this card onto the battlefield of your hand, tapped and attacking. Ninjutsu is one of the more confusing rules-wise mechanics that Wizards has printed. But it's so cool that they keep on bringing it back. During your turn, as long as Kaito has 1 or more loyalty counters on him, he's a 3/4 ninja creature and has hexproof. +1 loyalty, you get an emblem with ninjas you control get +1/+1. Which I believe in the set is only Kaito. Is that?
Yeah,
is that
I think
true?
so. I think so.
Okay, it's only Kaito. So Kaito gets +1/+1. 0, surveil 2. Then draw a card for each opponent who lost life this turn. And -2, tap target creature, put 2 stun counters on it.
Yeah, there's one more rare. That's ninja. Demir rare.
I see. Okay. Yeah. So this is good. It's good, right? You like the turn you put this into play, like despite it being a creature, you can still use loyalty abilities because loyalty abilities specifically aren't tap abilities. The rules, how rules work on creatures with loyalty abilities, you still have your loyalty count on them. You technically can't attack a creature planeswalker, but on your opponent's turn, it's going to be just a planeswalker anyway. So that part doesn't matter. You can only use loyalty abilities once, even though it's a creature. Just getting basic rule stuff out of the way. How good is Kaito? I mostly see this as you using the 0 ability to just rail 2 then draw. That's very powerful.
If you can draw,
and yeah. If you can actually keep on attacking through. The tap stun also does help you to get attacks through, so then you can then continue to surveil. So overall, I think Kaito's very good, right? I don't anticipate you using ton of ninjutsu tricks, you know, like the dream of rebuying ETBs and stuff is really minor on this card to me. It's just solid creature that can actually pressure your opponent's life total. And I think that's incredible. I also think this is a bomb at an A- level.
Yeah, A- in color. I mean, it's pretty good, right? But you're gonna use -2 once and then always 0, right?
Yep.
It's pretty good. Yeah, A-. You just play it.
A- for me.
Next up, we have the only other ninja, which is Nashi, Searcher in the Dark. For a blue and a black, it's a 2/2 menace. Whenever this guy deals combat damage to a player, you mill that many cards. You may put any number of legendary or enchantment cards from among them into your hand. If you put no cards into your hand this way, put a +1/+1 on Nash. Okay, that's pretty good. I mean, it's a 2/2 menace as a base. Like, if it connects, it's... I mean, it's hopefully gonna draw a card. If not, it's gonna draw itself, right? Right? It's still growing itself. Like, this is very good. B-, B+ in color? But it's kind of shitty if you play it a little bit later. It's just the turn 2 play. I know. B- B? Maybe B- B?
Yeah, I'm more on B- B for now.
Yeah. Really good on turn 2. Back-breaking if you're going first. Not splashable at all. I can see it being like a C+, but C+ and B-. Well, let's go B-. Alright, next up.
Next up is Undead Sprinter. Undead Sprinter is black-red for 2 mana for a 2/2 zombie with trample and haste. You may cast Undead Sprinter from your graveyard if a non-zombie creature died this turn. If you do, Undead Sprinter enters with a +1/+1 counter on it. Annoying. Right? As a bear with haste, acceptable, but gets outclassed relatively quickly. Even in the late game, a 3/3 is not the biggest creature when the boards start getting huge, right? So this is not going to take over the late game. You can use this as like sacrifice fodder and keep on recasting this in the late game, so that has that aspect to it. Overall, I think it's like pretty solid card, you know? I don't think it's like backbreaking or necessarily going to take over the game on its own, but I do see this as like a C+, B- card.
Yeah, also good for sacrificing. If it trades, you just recast it, so they never want to trade with it. Pretty good sack fodder. Yeah, it's good. It's pretty good. It's not broken or anything, it's just a good card. A little bit awkward a lot of times. Peer past the veil for 2 and a...
Give me grades.
What?
Give me grades.
Maybe actually, you know, give it a C in color. A C out of color for me. C out of color. C and B-. Peer past the veil for 2 and a red and a green. Discard your hand, instant speed, then draw X cards where X is the number of card types among cards in your graveyard. That can draw you a lot of cards. That can draw you a shit ton of cards. I mean, if it's 4, that's pretty crazy. But you never play it on curve. You always want to play it after you've cast everything except maybe 1 land or something. I don't know. It's fine. But I'm not a big fan. Gruul instant draw effect feels weird? Not really. Discard cards and draw is normal in Gruul. Add instant speed as well. In red. Yeah, this is weird, but can draw you a lot. I mean, I've only played it in late game. I'm not a big fan. I think I'm gonna go for a C- and a C in color. Not sure if Gruul. I think I'd rather play something like a 4-drop that you can play. What do you think, Scotty?
I see myself maybe splashing this in green-black more than playing it in Gruul. I guess it's fine. I'm on the D+. I'm a little less high.
Yeah, I give it a D+ for me as well. Yeah, I don't know why I gave it a C-. D+ is fine. In color?
C for me in color.
C, sure.
Rip Spawn Hunter, 2 green, white, 4 mana total for a 4/4 human survivor. Has survival at the beginning of your second main phase. If Rip Spawn Hunter is tapped, reveal the top X cards of your library where X is its power. Put any number of creature and or vehicle cards with different powers from among them into your hand, the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. This is a 4 mana 4/4 with no keywords, which is a baseline okay. It's okay. You know, nothing special. But if you can start surviving this, which does take at least a little bit of work, it's pretty easy to draw cards. It's pretty easy to start putting cards in your hand. Like 2, 3 if this gets unchecked for a couple turns.
You do got it.
So the upside is there, but the floor is, frankly speaking, quite bad.
It's really bad.
Like I'm not interested in a 4 mana 4/4. You know, like if this is a 4 mana 4/4 and blocks and trades, bad. 4 mana 4/4 blocks attacks and trades, bad. Right. So I need a little bit of work to make this good. So I'm just probably like taking it at a C-, and well, it is pretty high upside if you do have those synergies with it. And I don't think they're that hard. The combat tricks, right? Other cards that give this indestructible or other types of effects. So I think I'm taking this at like a C, and in color is probably a B-.
What if this card had no survival but said it must be blocked each combat?
It's pretty bad. That'd be like a C- or D+. D+.
You do need to. 4 mana 4/4 with no text is bad, and this really needs to survive. It does stop the aggression most of the time, or opponent doesn't give a fuck and they just attack and kill you. I don't know. It's super cool, but it's not that easy to make this work. It is second main phase, the survival, so you can play the cards out. What do you give it?
C, B-.
I'm on a D+, and in color. Can you go down to C+ or C? I want to go to C, but I guess C+ then. Or C? It's a 4 mana 4/4, man. It really needs to attack. It is hard to survive. Survival, yeah. Alright, C+ in color then.
Yeah.
Victor Valgavots Seneschal. What is a Seneschal? For 1 and a white and a black, it's a 3/3 that has Eerie. Whenever an enchantment you control enters or you fully unlock a room, surveil 2 if this is the first time this ability resolved. If it's the second time, each opponent discards a card. If it's a third time, put a creature card from any graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Wait, so you're never gonna resolve this 3 times, right? 2 times is already hard.
Yeah, 3 times is extremely hard.
But Surveil 2 every time you play an enchantment is really nice. And then if you play more, fuck yeah. think it's pretty great. I think it's like
I
a
don't
C.
think it's that tough to do it twice.
Yeah. But just once is good. If you can do it multiple times. C and a B minus in color?
I think this is a B in color. I actually think this is very, very powerful. I'd like to go to a B in color, and I'd probably take this as a C+.
How much different is this from a 3 mana 3/3 that surveils 2 right away?
Very different, in my opinion.
You think it's much
It can
better?
feed itself. Yeah. This will literally feed itself to keep the chain going.
Yeah, but it doesn't. It has to survive.
Yeah, it doesn't need to get into combat. Just has to be there.
So, creatures just... Because the effect is not that crazy for surviving. It's a good card, but it's not like, oh, now I'm getting a ton of 1/1s or something. Like, you have in Azorius, you have a 2 mana 2/2, so it's a 2-drop. And you just make 1/1s for Eerie every time. Isn't that just much better effect than this?
It depends on the stage of the game and what matters. Because actually, so if we were to give things arbitrary percentages of happening, right? If I would say like 60% of the time, you surveil 1 or surveil 2 whenever you activate this. But I feel like a solid 30% you can probably double spell and get 2. Like, do you think that's high?
I think that's very high. Double enchantment in
You
one
think that's
turn.
very high? I'm not anticipating it being that difficult, and that effect is strong.
Plus, also this surviving,
strong.
you're not
Yeah.
adding to the board when this survives.
I don't know what exactly you mean by that.
Wait, white common room makes 3 enchantments in a single turn for 5 mana? Really? For 2 mana, when you unlock this door, create a 1/1 enchantment, and then you unlock. So that's 2 enchantments, and then you unlock for 3. Oh, wait. That's kind of nice.
What's the card name that you're looking at?
It's Grand Entryway, Elegant Rotunda. Why did that happen? That was weird.
Yeah.
Huh, that's actually pretty cool. But also, like, isn't most of the time just creating a shit ton of 1/1s for a 2-drop better? I mean, if you trigger it 3 times, that's pretty great.
Yeah.
That's really great. Okay, I can go B in color. I guess I take it as a C+ then. That white common that's pretty crazy. I agree. Common room. Okay, Scotty.
Roaring Furnace and Steaming Sauna. Roaring Furnace is 1 and a red. Steaming Sauna is 3 blue. Roaring Furnace is when you unlock this door, this room deals damage equal to the number of cards in your hand to target creature an opponent controls. And Steaming Sauna is you have no maximum hand size. At the beginning of your end step, draw a card. So Roaring Furnace, as a removal spell, sorcery, deal damage equal to the number of cards in your hand to target creature. It's okay, right? This is in the developmental stages of the game. You get to remove a thing. You cannot reliably have this in your deck and say, I'm going to remove my opponent's large 5-drop or 6-drop, because at that stage, you're just not going to have enough cards in your hand unless you have a lot of card draw, which is, it's rare. So I see this as 2 mana on curve, you're removing something on curve, which is fine. It's fine. It's fine for a card. It's fine. Totally fine. Steaming Sauna on its own, you have no max hand size at the beginning of your end step, draw a card. That's too slow. It's just slow. You can't. 5 mana, you have to have the game already be in a state of stalemate in order for that card to be valuable. And even then, the value that you're getting is pretty slow, and you're crossing your fingers your opponent doesn't just draw something high impact. So I don't think Steaming Sauna is particularly good, and Roaring Furnace is fine. The two together, though, right? Roaring Furnace helps you bridge the early developmental stages and reach you to the point where you can cast Steaming Sauna. So together, they're actually quite synergistic naturally.
Yeah.
And that, in my opinion, pretty dang good. So I like it. I think in colors, Roaring Furnace Steaming Sauna is like a B.
Yeah.
And I probably take it as like a C+.
Yeah, this is actually... Both are bad, but combined, they're not bad at all. You can even, like, in the late game, you can even play the Steaming Sauna. And then once you draw like those 2 cards or something, you flip it to the Furnace and maybe you deal 2, 3, 4 damage. So that's not that bad. Like you can flip it around and then you can, like, if the board state is whatever, you can just, like, keep drawing cards and then decide when to flip. So I really like this. I think this is a B-. I think you splash this in every blue deck. And in color, a B. What do you give in color? Same B? Okay. That's nice. The Swarm Weaver for 2 and a black and a green. We got a Scarecrow artifact. That's a 2/3. But when it enters, create 2/1/1 black and green instant creatures. Oh, with flying. Delirium, as long as there are... Okay, Delirium. Insects and spiders you control. This is not it, but the creatures that it makes are. Get +1/+1 and have Death Touch. Oh, so Delirium... Wait, so this is like 2/3 that makes 2/1/1 flyers. Incredible. Incredible. This gives me Chrysalis vibes. And it's entered the battlefield, so getting it back is also good. But then Delirium, those things are 2/2 flying Death Touchers. Are there any insects?
Yeah, the gold uncommon sacks for 6 mana to make insect.
Oh.
It's the same card, or same tokens, same tokens.
And types? Are they type? Let me find it. Oh, we actually got some insects on common. Oh, we got some insects on common. We got 3 insects in green. Huh. That's common. Huh. I mean, this card without any insects in your deck is amazing, but if you got some, that's even better. Like, just a 2/3 that makes 2/1/1 flyers is crazy, crazy, crazy powerful. Yeah, I kind of would like to give this just an A-, A-.
Me too.
You splash this, you play this anywhere. It's beautiful. And there's also spider, yeah, that the uncommon. On uncommon we get more. On uncommon we get more. We get like we get that 1 spider, and I think we get 2 more insects. The insects are there are some, I guess. Okay, pretty cool. Daddy?
The Jolly Balloon Man. 1 red white, 3 mana for a 1/4 legendary creature, human clown. Has haste, and you can pay 1 and tap to create a token that's a copy of another target creature you control, except it's a 1/1 red balloon creature in addition to its other types, and it has flying and haste. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. Activate only as a sorcery. Okay, so sorcery, unfortunate. On its own, the body, whatever. Don't really care about it. 1/4 haste, you can rebuy into the battlefield effects. Amazing, right? Repeatable into the battlefield effects, but they certainly have to be of value to you to be worth an entire card in a mana every turn. So, you know, like it's nothing if you're like, oh, gain like a life or whatever, you know, like rummage. It's not super exciting to spend an entire card to do. You can copy your survivors and get the survival effects, right? Like, because you can attack with a balloon because it's flying, has haste, and it'll be tapped, so it'll trigger survival stuff. So all balloons are survivors. But kind of a weird card. I think this can be a very high ceiling, but on the average, I don't think this will be particularly fantastic. I think this will be just fine. So I think I'm taking this at a C-, and I think in color it's like a C+.
I mean, there are ETBs, right? The sorcery kind of kills it, but it also has haste, so you can use it right away. You can make more enchantments to get eerie effects. And you can attack with that creature. I mean, it's like, sorcery seems kind of bad, but I mean, that creature is a 1/1 though. There is a common white dude that manifests dread. So you can just for one mana keep making 2/2s.
Yeah, that's incredible. The twins. You can copy your Shroud Stomper, huh?
What does a Shroud Stomper do? Oh, you mean...
Huh? The 7-drop Orzhov?
Oh. Oh, that... That's kind of good. Wait. That would give you 2 cards and 4 life, and opponent would lose 4 life. 5 life, because it's Death Toucher. Okay, that's wild. Wait, you can also copy... This is basically impossible. This is impossible. But you can play a 4-color deck and copy the Spider. And then Surveil 2 for 7 mana. And make a lot of 1/1 flyers. Man, I think it has enough things that it's good. I think there are enough things. I'm gonna give this a C plus B minus. Next up, we got Zimon, all questioning for 1 and a green and a blue. This is a weird one. It's a 1/1 wizard. At the beginning of your end step, if a land enters the battlefield under your control this turn, and you control a prime number of lands, create Primo, the indivisible, a legendary 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token, then put that many +1/+1 counter on it. That many means, what is the prime number of lands that you control? That, yeah. So you can, so basically, if you have, I mean, you're not gonna have 2 lands. You're not gonna have 2 lands. So if you have 3 lands somehow, I mean, yeah, you can have 3 lands, right?
The turn you play this.
The turn you play this, yeah. Because the trigger goes on the end step. So the turn you play this, you're making a, if you play it on when you have 3 mana, you're making a 3/3 and a 1/1. It's a legendary creature, so you can play only 1. And then it can like attack, block, trade. And then you can also be making... I mean, you can play this with 2 lands with some ramp, right? But ramp for 1 mana, that ain't happening. Then you can replace that, if it didn't die, for a 5/5 later on. Or for a 7/7, I don't think you're going more than that. You're gonna be going 3/5/7. 11, maybe it happens. How do you kill... You can sacrifice your lands. Like with Sow, for example. And then just keep making 5/5s, but they gotta die. The thing is, they gotta die. Huh. It's good. This is fine. It's good. It's gonna be awkward if you have 4 or 6 lands, but... I mean, 1/1 plus a 3/3 or a 1/1 plus a 5/5. You can upgrade it later on. Or if you trade, you can just... It's a nightmare like when you play this on turn 3, right? Because then they gotta kill this, but they also don't want to ever attack or block your 3/3. This is great. I'm gonna go... I'm gonna go... B minus and a B plus in color.
That's where I'm at.
Okay. Anything else to say?
No. Not combat's like super awkward for your opponent as soon as you slam this on 3, you know?
Okay, you're
Never
good,
want to
Eddie.
trade it off. Next is Winter Misanthropic Guide. 1 black, red, green. 4 mana total for a 3/4 legendary creature, human warlock, has ward 2. At the beginning of your upkeep, each player draws 2 cards. Delirium, as long as there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, each opponent's maximum hand size is equal to 7 minus the number of those card types. Yeah. So, an interesting card. So how difficult to cast? 4 mana, 3/4 ward 2. Nothing, right? I'm not interested. At the beginning of your upkeep, each player draws 2 cards, so you do get the first crack at those cards, which is nice. Unfortunately speaking, even for the delirium cause, I don't really care about my opponent's maximum hand size because they'll just be casting their cards for limited. Because in limited, you're not like holding on to like a super reactive deck, so you're not just like emptying a control deck's hands. Even a control deck will just empty their hand on you. It'll just put more creatures in the battlefield or remove stuff. I think this is terrible. I think Winter is horrible. I think Winter is a actual D-.
F. This is the first F. Like, how is this D-? It's like, it's not 2 colors, it is 3 colors. So this is always an investment. It's always a cost. There's always a cost to playing this card, which is you gotta splash. You gotta splash for this card. It's not naturally gonna fit in your deck. You gotta splash for it. And the cost is a card that would be garbage if it was a single color card. So it's never a good idea to play this. It is kind of cool though. Like, you're playing best of 3. You're playing against another grindy deck. And it's easy for you to get like 5-6 delirium. And then they draw a lot of cards, but you make your both of your draw, but they gotta start discarding cards. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, F. This is the first F. I don't know how it's not F for you, Scotty, but okay.
Good. I think monocolor, this card is good. This is a good card, monocolor. You drawing 2 first and getting the first crack at it, that's just good.
You got a 3/4 4-drop.
Yeah, but the effect is strong.
The effect's symmetrical.
You get the first crack at it, which is way different, which is way better for you.
It's a little bit better, yeah.
Okay, I think we're in disagreement about how much better it is.
I mean, it's a 4 mana 3/4. They're gonna like, it's a 4 mana 3/4. Like, how great it is that you can play cards that you drew first. I don't know. Okay, but as a 3 color, like, really ever putting this in your deck? Oh man. Anyway, next. Really, like, you're gonna sometimes put this in your deck as a 3 color card?
We'll find out. Marina Ventrell.
Why are you gonna put this ever in your deck?
Do you think you can get delirium by turn 4?
Delirium and fixing for this card?
Or what about turn 5? Do you think you could get delirium by turn 5?
And fixing for this card.
Well, sometimes they're hand in hand, like Terramorphic Expanse.
And then,
because if you get delirium by turn 5, that's actually really good.
It's like what? I mean, okay, so you have 4 creature types. They have 3. I mean, that's pretty cool. Yeah. Oh my god, there's so many hoops to jump through. And I mean, they're drawing so many cards anyways, and so are you, that do they even care that they're discarding? Because, like, they're drawing shit ton of cards anyways.
They just keep the best ones.
Yeah. Like, oh no, I discarded a little bit of cards. I'm drawing 3 cards every single turn. But I discarded a couple. Like, that's like the dream scenario. You got delirium, you got it, you play this super fast, which is also always a cost, but like, you got in a dream. And then opponent is drawing 3 cards per turn, but they're gonna discard some of them. Like, whoa, probably once. I mean, they just keep playing. You're both gonna be playing everything. You're gonna be tapping out. You're both gonna be tapping out. I don't think you're gonna be tapping out any better than them at this dream scenario. But opponent, with drawing a lot of cards, is probably not gonna be playing 4 mana 3/4s. They're gonna be like, you're behind, because now they're actually playing better cards than this creature. Even though you get to draw first. So how does that scenario sound? That's the perfect scenario, right?
Yeah, it depends on how hard it is to actually get there. I have a feeling that delirium and fixing are going to go hand in hand quite nicely.
But let's say it's easy. Like, they're drawing 3 cards per turn.
Yeah.
Like, how many do they need? Huh? How many do they need?
Maybe more than you. I don't know, because you also have cards.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they need more. Yeah, I don't know. Doesn't feel like it. But okay. Okay, you're giving a D-. I can't believe this. Okay, but yeah. Okay.
I'll give it a D.
A D? How is this better now?
You're talking me up. I'm kind of into it.
What part of what I
Let's
said
talk
did...
about Marina Vendrell. White, blue, black, red, green for a 5 mana 3/5 legendary creature human warlock. When Marina Vendrell enters, reveal the top 7 cards of your library. Put all enchantment cards from among them into your hand and put the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. You can tap to lock or unlock a door of target room you control. Activate only as a sorcery. This is an F. This one's an F.
Yeah, this is such a bad payoff. F. This is an F. Oh, what is this card? So what? What made you get your grade up after? What did I say? What did I say that made it better?
That's what you're saying now.
Huh?
That's what you're saying now.
What am I saying now?
Oh.
What did I say that made it go a grade higher?
I think I need to take a short break before we go on to the white cards.
I'm gonna fuck you up, man. I have a good punch. Don't mess with me.
I don't doubt it. You can uppercut me really good from that angle.
Okay, if you answer me this can be painful, but it can also be pleasurable. But only if you answer me, motherfucker. So, what's it gonna be? What's it gonna be?
I don't understand what's happening.
Huh?
I don't understand what's happening.
You're not gonna answer me?
Answer you what? Oh, with this?
What did I say that made this grade go up?
Oh, you're just really you explained the play pattern, and I'm like, oh yeah, that doesn't sound that bad to me. So
fucking hell, the play pattern. Go away. Okay, this is it for the multicolors, right?
Yeah, that's it.
That one is the colorless. Oh, you need a little break.
Yeah.
All right.